Multifamily Mindset
podcast. Think bigger. All right, aloha, y'all, and welcome to the Multifamily Mindset podcast. My name is Tyler Deveraux, and I am here with the one and only George King. George King, man. So I'm excited for y'all to get to know him, his story, what him and his team are doing out there in San Antonio, Texas, and why you should be aware of everything. So, dude, as we dive in, George, first off, man, welcome to the Multifamily Mindset podcast, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is a big opportunity for us and the team. I appreciate you guys creating the time to have me on. This is something that the team and I will continue to cherish, but thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, for sure. You have a unique journey, dude. So let's talk a little bit about this. Like, where did you grow up? Who's George King, dude? Where did you grow up? What did you do? And then we'll kind of get to where you're at now and what you're doing now.
Yeah, for sure. So originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. My family, my mom and dad were both military. For anyone that know anything about Fayetteville, it's a huge military town here in North Carolina. The city is built around the military. So that's where my entire family is. Grew up playing multitude of sports here in San Antonio, in Fayetteville, but eventually moved to San Antonio when I was about 8 years old due to the military. And that's where I was all the way up until I went off to college. So, but yeah.
Sweet, dude. So Fayetteville, moved to San Antonio when you were how old?
I was about 8, and it was a huge culture shock for me going from Fayetteville, North Carolina, a small town, to San Antonio, Texas. Even in 2002, it had, 7-lane highways and, overpasses and a downtown like city that was skyscrapers and stuff. So that's something from a small town like Fayetteville I had never seen before. So, but yeah.
Were you pumped about it, or were you like, with that like, no?
No, I was comfortable. I was comfortable here in Fayetteville. This is where my family was. This is where, I am baseball. I was playing baseball. I was playing basketball, all kinds of sports. My entire family was here, and I didn't want to leave, and I didn't understand why I needed to leave. But as I got older, I understood that. But I'm so grateful to get outside of Fayetteville and experience a culture shock, which I didn't even realize. I was too young to even understand what it was, the emotions I was feeling. But I'm glad I was able to go through that at a very early age because it prepared me to do it again when I went off to Colorado for school. So yeah.
Yeah, so you said you played a bunch of sports: baseball, football, basketball, and definitely basketball. What other sports? Or were those ones?
So soccer. I did that in San Antonio early on, but then I started to, basketball started, to really weave its way out weave its way out, but really started to become my number one sport, something that I truly, truly love to play. By high school, that's when I stopped playing football and just focused on basketball there in San Antonio, Texas, where I was able to become a pretty good player. I was player of the year in San Antonio my senior year, and went off, and that got me a scholarship to the University of Colorado, where I played and graduated and was the most true player in the Pac-12. Which led me to be drafted into the NBA and played with a multitude of teams in the NBA, played with the USA team, the World Cup, and played 2 windows for them and also in Europe. So yeah.
Wait, dude, I feel like you just freaking flew through a bunch right there, man. All nonchalant. Like, yeah, first round NBA, no big deal.
Yeah,
honestly, I got hung up on the soccer thing. I bet, were you the only 6'6" soccer player on the team?
I wasn't 6'6". I wasn't 6'6". I was playing soccer. I think it was my first year when I got to San Antonio. I was probably in I was like 8. So, but so that's how soccer led me to play football, because I was big and fast. And with being in Texas, the soccer coach is like, tell my mom that you should put him in football. And she did, and I was playing football, and I loved playing football.
Yeah.
Early on, and then I got around high school and was like, I want to play basketball. This is what I want to do. I got really tall, and I was like, I'm tired. I was playing tight end receiver. I could catch everything. I wasn't the fastest, but I was really good at catching stuff, and I got tired of getting hit in my knee and stuff. So I was like, I'm playing basketball. So
Well, hey, good choice, bro. Obviously. So, dude, let's talk a little bit about that. So you transition, you go play for University of Colorado.
Yeah,
Obviously, dude, player of the year, you said in high
yeah,
school there in San Antonio. And then, dude,
yeah,
Colorado, great program.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, senior year of high school, I was the player of the year in the city of San Antonio, and that got Colorado's attention. They offered me a scholarship. I ended up going there, and it wasn't a success for me right away. Had to really grind my way. I didn't play my freshman year. My sophomore year, they redshirted me, which means you have to sit out and not play because of X whatever reasons. And then finally my third year, that's when I really took off, and that's where I started to get professional teams' attention, the NBA's attention. And but yeah, I went to Colorado, played basketball there. I was spent 5 years in Colorado. I'm the oldest player drafted out of college at 24 years old. I think I still hold that that record.
Really?
Yeah, no doubt. It's 24 years old. When I was drafted, 24 in like shoot 5 months. So I think I still hold that record. But yeah.
So take me there, bro. So you get drafted, like, because I love sports, man. I played baseball, football, and dude, like the dream is like, come on, man, make the league. Like
Nah,
that's the dream, bro.
man, when I was 5 years old, I always said I want to play in the NBA. I want to be an NBA player. That was my goal. I played other sports, but basketball just held a special place in my heart. And so I'm just
Yeah.
like a lot of kids that you see around here dribbling basketballs around your neighborhood, right? I'm the kid with the ball. I was the kid with the ball in the neighborhood shooting on the hoop that was too big for them. You know what I mean? Wearing the jerseys and, with just the biggest dream. And held on to that dream. And it motivated me to continue to work hard, to work on my game, to surround myself with better so I can learn from them. And when that dream came true, man, it was kind of a surreal moment, man. It really, really was. It was so, when, the commissioner came out there and was like, hey, with the 59th pick, the Phoenix Suns select George King, that was, uh, man, it was just a surreal moment. It really was. So it's something that I still think about to this day. But yeah, no, it was a dream come true. And, playing in NBA is, another dream, you know what I mean? So it's as good as people, as the media makes it seem, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about the career, bro. Like you, that was in 2018 that you got drafted. So, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So then tell me about the journey, like the experience getting drafted the best. What about, playing and being in the league?
Yeah,
Was
for
that, is
sure.
that everything that it's made out to be?
Yeah, nah, it definitely is, right? I think the NBA is as glamorous as the media makes it seem, right? Well, going about my experience, my first year in the NBA, I didn't see the floor hardly at all. It was kind of like my freshman year in college all over again. It was kind of like my freshman year of high school. Wasn't playing, had to come out there and prove myself. But unfortunately, I was on a 1 year deal. And with that 1 year deal, at the end of the year, with the Phoenix Suns being one of the worst teams in the league, we had won, I only think, 18 games that year. A lot of people don't realize, but what teams normally do when they know they're not going to make the playoffs, they'll start preparing for the next season. And so um, they'll take all their vets, the older guys that are playing and who they know they're going to bring back next year. They'll start resting them the last 2 months of the season. And they'll take their young guys, like the rookies and stuff, myself, and they'll bring them and have them play all the minutes, right? Start you, play you, just because they're like, hey, we know we're not making the playoffs and we don't want to risk, our main guys getting hurt. We're preparing for next year. Well, I was playing in the G League and I was hurt. I got hurt the third of the last game in the G League, just before I was going to have that opportunity to play out the last 2 months, where it's a great opportunity for guys, rookies, and young guys to really show their value on the NBA floor against the NBA players, because you're still playing against, the LeBrons, the Dame Lillards. And so if you're able to go and do what you do on those guys, it's like, okay, that could really it's a great opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I ended up being hurt, had an ankle injury, which ended my season. And so I missed that opportunity. But to go back about what it's like to be in NBA, yeah, for sure. It's as glamorous as what media may portray it out to be. Like, we don't carry on bags. We don't even carry on shoes, Tyler. Like, I mean, brands, A or B level brands are always in your DMs. Mostly your agent in your agency are trying to throw you money because they want you to hold up their sign or their logo and say, hey, this is a great product. And they're throwing you, you know what I mean? Like, it is that glamorous. And that's almost like the surreal reality of the NBA. But then there's the reality NBA, right? It is you make money with your body, and all those things will stop overnight, and it does if you hurt, depending on who you are, right? There's levels to it, right? Obviously, a LeBron James can go and have an injury where it might take him a year to come back from. Brands are still going to offer him, right? But if you haven't had a career like a LeBron or had an opportunity to have the career like a LeBron James, if you have a season-ending injury, it might be very hard for you to get back into the league, right? Especially if your circumstances were, if you're on a 1-year deal or whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, that's the reality of the NBA, especially when, say for a guy like a George King, who was a rookie fresh out of college, who hasn't had much, film, much playing time in the NBA, showing his value in the NBA. You're right. I just have potential, but I don't have any, at the time, I didn't have any film showing that, hey, I can do what I do on the NBA level, and then I get hurt. It can be very hard for you to come back. And that's just the reality of it. Because like I said, this is a business where, you make money with your body, and you need your body healthy for you to play. And, if you play well, you get paid, you know what I mean? So, that's
when
just,
did you know, man, I got to start looking for other streams of income? Like, when was that?
so that next year, that's a great question, Tyler. So after my rookie year, I ended up going to Italy the very next year, right? Straight to Italy. I was playing in Europe. And in the middle of that year, I ended up pivoting to a team in Poland. And this is about 3 months before the pandemic hits. And, excuse me, I'm in Poland. I still don't remember exactly how I found these books. I think they found me. But it was 2 books that I had. It was Ash Cash, The Wake Up Call is called, 444 by Ash Cash. And then it's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And those 2 books completely reformed how I looked at money, right? Because, Tyler, I remember my rookie year, all the way up until I was 24 years old, I had never been paid to play basketball, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm getting more money I've ever seen in my life. But I remember telling myself, hey, like, I've seen, guys go and blow their money. I'm going to be super disciplined. I'm not going to spend my money. Like, obviously I have an apartment. I had my car that I had in college. I had paid it off. That's what I did. I paid my car off. But I was like, and I wish I didn't have an apartment. I was renting. So if I knew what I knew now, if it's Arizona, trust me, things would be different. But anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm like, I'm not going to spend my money. And so until I figure out I know what to do with it. And those books told me what to do with it. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense to me. Like, I like this stuff. And I remember going on Zillow after reading those books, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy a house in a single family home in Texas, right? And after also reading those books, I'm like, now I'm interested into real estate. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go on Instagram. I'm gonna start to unfollow a lot of unnecessary people that I'm following. I'm gonna start following a lot of real estate people, right? I want to change the algorithm in my Instagram. I want to be able to just leisurely just scroll on my timeline. I'm seeing people talking about real estate, and I can learn from that, right? I want to surround myself with it, right? So that's what I did. And
first off, I'm going to pause right there because that's huge, dude. Like, I don't think, like, I'll be honest with you, I haven't even, like, I've never even really thought of that. But, like, think about how big that is, bro. Because, like, people are on social all the time. So what do? You make sure that the algorithm works in your favor, dude. I love that, man. Follow real estate people, and then all of a sudden, just as you're freaking scrolling, you're learning, growing, enhanced belief in what's possible. That's awesome. That's a great takeaway, man.
I did that with basketball, man, as a young age. I said, why, if I want to be a basketball player, why am I hanging out with guys who aren't interested in basketball? I remember saying that to myself as a young kid. And so that's when I started to see my game start to take off, is when I started to surround myself, because now people who have dreams and aspirations to be around basketball, they're not going and doing the same things that maybe someone who doesn't really have an idea of what they want to do with their life yet. And so I started hanging so the next thing you know, I'm going to bed a little earlier. I'm getting up. I'm gonna go to the gym. So I did the same thing with basketball. But anyway, so yeah, I changed my algorithm. And I remember seeing on my timeline, just leisurely just scrolling, and I see on Earn Your Leisure, right? Because I'm following those guys. And they're on the Breakfast Club. And it was just a 20, Instagram. It's like a 20-second clip of them saying, if you're a first-time home buyer, you should buy a multifamily house. And here's why, blah, blah, blah. And I remember hearing that. I'm like, okay. And so I go on Zillow and I change from single family to multifamily in San Antonio, Texas. And I see up comes this new construction, a duplex. And I said, okay, boom, there it is. I'm going to live on one side. I'm a house hack. I'm going to live on one side, rent out the other. That way, I don't have to, it's house hacking. I don't have to pay as much towards the mortgage, or if not, may not pay the mortgage at all, depending on how the numbers go out. Interest rates back then were amazing. And so that's what I did. And I remember getting an agent. And now that I'm going through, the process of giving them my paperwork, all my W-2s, all that stuff, I'm in Germany playing at this point. And so yeah, and went to go get a duplex, man. And that's what I've done up until I'm still doing currently right now. I'm under contract for another one now, but yeah, been house hacking since.
Good for you, bro. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And then how did you find out about MFM?
Yeah, so YouTube. So I'm on YouTube again, and I'm the guy. I'm on YouTube, and now I'm interested into podcasts. I'm watching, stuff. I don't remember exactly what I was watching, but I was on YouTube, and you popped up on like an ad, on a commercial or something on YouTube. And normally I hit skip before it even has a chance to even, you know what I mean? Like,
so totally.
But what you had said, I believe you mentioned multifamily right away, which my ears popped up, because now I know what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. Now, so like anytime, boom, right? I'm like, oh, here I go. I'm listening to this 30 seconds. And you're talking about how you were coming out to San Antonio, Texas, and you were doing for like an hour, it was a free, what's the thing you guys did in January? What was it called? I forget.
Yeah, Multifamily Revealed is what we named that class, but we call it a preview.
So exactly. So I circled that on the calendar. I'm like, I'm going, because now it's going to bring people who are interested in San Antonio in real estate, just like me, multifamily real estate, and I can network with these people and just continue to, do what I'm also passionate about outside of basketball, right here in my backyard in San Antonio. So I went, and Todd was the one that was speaking at the event, but I went to two of them. I went to two of them back to back, because I wanted to meet a lot of people. I wanted to see who was, so I went to one in the morning. I went to another one a little bit later after lunch, because I wanted to, and that's where I was like, okay, they were talking about the 3-day event that was coming up a month later. And that's where I went to the 3-day event and met even more people, and it was like a deeper level and going into more in depth, like about the apartments. And that's when I was like, yeah, this is for me for sure. So
like even what you just mentioned there, man, is a huge takeaway for people. Like, we have the reticular activating system, right? It's this bundle of nerves, the base of our brainstem, and it acts as a filter. And the fact that you knew what you're looking for, you hear the word multifamily and it sticks out. The problem is most people don't truly identify what they're looking for. And so, dude, you just got shit tons of stuff coming out and you don't know what to go forward with. The fact that you would even identify, that's huge. The other thing is there's so many people who will learn of a free event. They're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to go to this event, because what if they try to sell me something? And it's like, first off, who gives a shit that try to sell you something? Like, dude, you're like, I'm going to go to multiple so I can network. It's like, dude, that is somebody who sees things at a different level. Like, just gets it, if you will. You just get it. It's like, yeah, man, I'm not worried about somebody selling me something. I'm worried about going to build what I'm looking to build and network and grow. And then you come to the 3-day. And where did you meet your partners, by the way? I don't even know this.
So yeah, so my partners, Stephanie and Eon, they were so I went to two of the ones that Todd was speaking at. He did a great job, by the way, too.
Yeah, Todd's a beast, bro.
Stephanie, so there's six members, including myself and my team. Stephanie and Eon, I remember seeing them at the second one, the one that was in later in that morning, and they stuck out to me because I remember when Todd was like, Todd mentioned like, hey, if you guys want to come to the 3-day event, it costs this much and blah, blah, blah. And at this time I had already bought my tickets for that morning, but I'm kind of just looking around the room, and I remember seeing Todd and Eon kind of game planning, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, that stuck out to me, right? They like literally like huddled up like with just them two, and they like game plan on what they were going to do. And I remember seeing like, I'm just reading body language at this point.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing them like nod at each other, like, and one of them, I think it was Eon, that got up and went and got the ticket. And I was like, cool, I'm going to see them at the 3-day event. I'm going to make sure I talk to them then. And then the other members, I met them at the 3-day event. David and Nadia. So it's myself, Eon, Stephanie, David, Nadia, and JR. And so, but yeah, we're all in San Antonio, and we were all at the 3-day event. JR came on after the 3-day event. But yeah, he's a part of the group as well.
Dude, even that I love so much, bro. Like, you're a very intentional person. You can just tell you can tell out the gate, but just hearing how you talk about things and do things, it's like you see things at a different level because you're very intentional. Like, man, okay, I'm here and I'm like looking at body language, bro. I'm a bit verbally. Yeah, you can tell me all the shit you want to tell me, but what I'm looking at is how, like, dude, when I get on a Zoom call, like a training call, a coaching call, you know what I'm doing? I'm listening to whoever's teaching, but I'm like scrolling through them and be like, first off, who has their camera on? If you don't have your camera on, like, what are you doing? Second, like, if your camera is on, what are you doing on that call? Like, are you dicking around? If you're dicking around on that call, it's like, nah, they're not as serious as I am. And I find these people, I'm like, oh, I'm serious. That's it.
No doubt.
No,
100%, man. That's you couldn't have said it any better for sure.
So that was like January-ish. You went to the 3-day event in what was
the 3-day event was February the 23rd. And I remember that date because I had just flown into town the night of the 22nd. So yeah.
Yeah. Love it. So what's been your biggest takeaway? Did you go to Peak, by the way? Peak Partnership?
No, I didn't. No. That's on the list. I need to go to Peak. No.
Yeah, you have regret about that one, bro. Peak it's right when you very first started though. So it's like, in fact, it might have even happened after or right before you went.
We're talking about it. Might have. Yeah, I think it had just happened, right? Yeah, I believe you're right. I don't remember exactly, but that feels right in my stomach. That sounds about right. But
Peaks,
yeah,
you'll love Peak, bro. It's like, that's where everyone comes together. But my question is, like, what's been your biggest takeaways? You've like dove into now these bigger deals and understanding how these bigger deals work and trying to figure out this. What's been some of your biggest takeaways, learning experiences that you've had?
Man, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. It's definitely, it takes your time, but like after understanding it, it's like, wow, this makes sense to me. But I would say that I remember going to the 3-day event, and I'm just like, just trying to drink water out of a fire hose, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to grasp this information, man. But
yeah,
now I feel I'm confident in the handle that I have on it currently right now. And there's more for me to grab and learn, more for me to learn, absolutely, for sure. But yeah, I would say that would be the biggest takeaway for me, personally. Yeah, just the understanding of this, of the apartment game, right? The syndications and, you know what I mean, GPs and LPs, and you know what I mean. So yeah,
like another language sometimes too, huh?
Like, yeah, it's a little jargon. It's a little jargon, but I mean, it is what it is.
But bro, how often do you look back? Like, so you think about your first day at that 3-day training. It's like, I can relate to this so much because I went to a 3-day training just like you went to. And I remember sitting like, bro, I was far right-hand side, second row on the aisle and being like, I'm never going to get this. Like, I never felt more dumb in my life because I was foreign. Everything was super foreign to me. And so then it was like a month or two later looking back and I was like, holy shit, I just like had a conversation with somebody, like talking about shit that I was like, I didn't even know that stuff a couple months ago. Okay, I just remember feeling traction.
No, I was super, it's like I had a ton of questions, but I didn't know how to ask the questions because I wasn't understanding exactly what I was information I was given. So you know what I mean? So I'm kind of just, so what I told myself is like, I'm here, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna listen. Right. And that's what it's going to be. I'm just going to keep coming. Right. And that's what I did. Cause I for sure. So honestly, even after the third of, I mean, obviously each day it was 3 days, but then I was like, okay, ooh, I don't get it. But I would say after the 3-day event though, in all, I would say probably a week after that. And I'm like, okay, because now at this point I'm doing the videos,
Yeah. Path,
the
path
path.
foundation.
There we go. The path was pivotal for me because now I'm home, I'm in the office, I'm in the house, and now I'm doing my path. Like, you know what I mean? I built that into my routine. I'm like, oh, okay. And those are great videos too, by the way. You guys did a slam job, bro. Like, really did. And so that's why I was like, oh, and so I'm taking the information that was given to me on the path. I'm like, oh, so that's what he was talking about. Oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's all it, you know what I mean? And so now I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. And then I would say about 3 weeks after that, I went to the fast track. There was a fast track in San Antonio, and I think we all showed up. This is before we were team members, though. The team showed up before we were actually like made ourselves a team, and that's when we went to 2 apartments and we got to walk through 2 actual live deals. And that's why I was like, I got this, like, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how that happened for me.
Bro, I love that, man. I love to hear that so much because that's the purpose. Like that's the vision of, it's like we land blast you with the 3-day, we know that. But dude, it's like hitting that foundation. But then what's crazy is you start to implement this along the way on the path, because now you're learning it, but you're also doing it. Right. It's like you start to understand it at a different level, you know?
Right.
And then the fast track event, like our goal of that event is to have the unlock that you just had. Is like, okay, we're good. I got it. You know, It's a lot, but I can figure this shit out.
Yeah. Yeah. He completely walked through from, you know, the start, from getting into a deal to what it would look like, you know, to exiting a deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he did it twice, and it was like, okay, great, I'm good. Cause I think the fast track was 2 days. It was 2 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I was like, oh, okay, got it. And the team formulated after that. We met and we was like, hey, let's do this.
So tell me the name of, what's the name of y'all's company and what markets are you guys focused on right now?
Yeah, Committed Growth Capital Partners. And our market is San Antonio, Texas. And that's intentional as well. We all live in San Antonio. And so the deals that we have, we've all went to and touched and smelled and, you know, tasted, and we see these deals, you know what I mean? And I think San Antonio market is really dope. One, San Antonio, just the reason how I got there is due to the military. It's got one of the biggest Air Force bases in the nation. Anybody that's ever spent any time in the Air Force, they got to come through San Antonio to get their training, right? And so San Antonio is a huge, just like Fayetteville, North Carolina, but even bigger. It's a huge military town. It's got the Air Force there. It's got the Army. It's got multiple bases there. And so a lot of the tenants there in San Antonio will often be military. And military tenants are great. So now chances are they're going to be paying on time, right? And if they're not, you can literally go to their superior and notify, hey, this person is not paying on time, and they will discipline them. You know what I mean? And so, but that's not the only reason why San Antonio is what it is. But that's, I think, attractive because now you know that you got X amount of percentage of requirements. You know that money is going to be coming in on time. You know, you literally, and so San Antonio, I think, is a great market, and I like the fact that we know, like I was raised in Texas. I know the areas in Texas well. My team, they know San Antonio. They live there, like I said, and we know which direction San Antonio's going, where they're building. And we just tap into the city, and so yeah, I think San Antonio, man, is a great market for sure.
Such a huge advantage, dude, to have boots on the ground. It's like you have such a, first off, people in Texas want to do business with people in Texas. There's like that pride, right? Which I love that. I lived in Austin, actually, when I started a lot of this stuff up. So love that area. And that's, especially like the hill country area, I just think is I love it out there. But it's like they have this pride, and being in the market, like you have such a unique advantage because you're able to see these, and that's huge for sponsors. That's huge for investors. It's like, when I look at a passive investment, I want to invest, like passively investing, like putting my money to work. I want to invest with a team that has somebody on the team in the market, because I know that person is going to lay eyes on the deal. I know that there's going to be little things that they can do that, dude, if they weren't there, that they wouldn't be able to do,
Right.
due diligence wise and operationally. It's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but my dad actually lives in San Antonio.
No,
So I think, did you meet my sister at the event?
I did.
I think was at that event.
Yeah. Great.
That's my older sister, and then my dad lives out there because his wife is in the Air Force. That's why I love it.
See, so yeah, man. I mean, obviously that makes all the sense in the world, the Air Force. You got to come through San Antonio now if you decide to stay or whatever, depending on the job. But yeah, my dad came out here. He's Army. He was at not Fort Bragg, that's Fayetteville, Fort Sam, man. He retired in San Antonio. Like, San Antonio is also military, family friendly, right? It's a great family city, which is a great market, I think, for the apartments as well. So
totally, dude. I look at San Antonio, I believe, is one of the most overlooked markets in Texas. Like, you have Austin, everybody, talks about. You have Dallas, everybody talks about. Houston. But dude, San Antonio is like, it just gets overlooked for whatever reason.
On all levels, man, even when it comes to recruiting. But I mean, it just is what it is, right? But I don't know. I can't put a finger on it personally. I've been to Austin, I've been to Houston. I don't know why. I mean, Dallas, I personally can't put a finger on it, but it just does. But
yeah, that's an advantage for you though, bro. That's a huge advantage for you because you're there. Once again, like, as a sponsor standpoint, same type of thing. Like, if I'm going to come in and sponsor a deal, like, I want to sponsor deals that, like, if your team is there, it's like, dude, that makes my job as a sponsor so much easier. That makes my job as a passive investor, like, dude, it gives me peace of mind. It's like, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So tell me a little bit about, and then we'll just kind of, wrap up this way. Like, what are you and your team focused on right now? Like, what's your, I call it a buy box, right? Like, what are you guys looking to buy? How many deals have you been looking at? And then, let's go from there.
Yeah, we got a few deals actually. I believe there's 4 deals right now. Our buying box, we're looking at anything between 20 to 80 units, right? We want to start small. It's important to us that we close, right? We don't want to go out and bite off more than we can necessarily chew. We want to start small because we want to show these brokers and these people that we're going to rely on relationships that, Committed Growth, they are closers. If anything, they're going to do anything, they're going to close. Now, once we're doing this over and over and over again, now, our work that we've already done, being disciplined of closing, starts to work for us. You know what I mean? Because now brokers are sending us deals. People are more likely to want to work with us again. You know what I mean? So it's important for us. So that's exactly what we're looking to do right now.
Smart, bro.
But we need a sponsor.
Yeah.
We need a sponsor right now. We have not submitted any LOIs with the ones that we currently have on the table. We submitted one, I know, about a month or 2 ago, was not accepted, but we're trying. We're attempting, man. We're getting them shot attempts. We're currently right now, and just had a conversation with Stephanie, our underwriting specialist. We need a sponsor. So let that be known.
Hey, done. Yeah, dude. Any sponsors? How can people get a hold of you, bro?
Yeah, so you can. Honestly, I don't know if I should keep my cell phone on the.
Just go social. Go social or your email.
It's George.
You'll be
okay,
you'll be having. Bro. You give your cell phone. You'll have all sorts of chicks hitting you up in your text messages, bro. You already know.
Well, I'll go email first. It's George, all lowercase, GEORGE @committedgrowthcp.com, right? George @committedgrowthcp.com, and then my social media, my Instagram, it's almost like texting me at this point. It's
to be too.
Yes, at the @ symbol and then the number 2 and then the letter BKINGS. And I don't check my Twitter too much. My Twitter is the same exact at To Be Kings. But if you really want to get a response from me fast, I do check my deeper Instagram DMs, because sometimes I do have people DM me about stuff and it be opportunities. And so I check that pretty often. But yeah.
Love it. Dude, hit him up, man. Any sponsors or investors out there that are looking to invest in that area, you should definitely hit him up. I have a question for you, bro, because so many people, it's interesting to see it from my perspective now, right? I see a bunch of people come through, and there's this building point, right? Where you're going and you're building your teams, you're building your foundational knowledge, you're just getting shit set up to now like freaking grow. You're laying a foundation. But some people struggle through that phase because we live in this world where people want things immediately. It's like they leave the class, they want that first deal done like yesterday, which is great. That urgency is awesome. Do you think that, like, your experience in the NBA and your experience just in sports, like, going to Colorado, not playing your first year, not seeing too much of the core, going to the NBA, not seeing do you think that has helped you like build your resiliency in this business as well?
That's a great question. Absolutely. And it didn't just start there, right? I remember being in the 6th grade playing, and I remember being the guy who didn't play, right? I remember on the AAU team, right? And then eventually I was like, oh, okay, boom. And I became good on the team, and you know what I mean? So absolutely. Where did I get this resiliency? I don't know. Personally, I mean, from God. Actually, I shouldn't say I don't know, but I think going through those things, don't get me wrong, it's not like oh, okay, I'm just accepting of it. It's frustrating. I want to play. I want to close yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? But would I really enjoy closing? Would I really enjoy playing if I didn't go through the hardship? Would I enjoy it as much? Would I appreciate it as much? Excuse me. Would it mean that, how much would it really mean for me if I woke up, if I had left the 3-day event and closed on an 80-unit apartment complex? That'd be great. But it's like, nah, I don't know if I would, when I got to the closing table, when we closed, and you know what I mean? I don't know if I have the same amount of, respect and appreciation for it if I didn't go through hitting my head a few times and getting up and think about quitting and like, I don't think this is for me, or I can't sleep. Because I know I haven't the deal, so, but I know that's how it is for me with basketball, right? Like, and that's why I think, using the draft thing as an example, like me being drafted, right? Like, remembering from where I started, I remember being picked on. Talk on me, hey, you're not good enough to play in college, right? I remember having junior colleges recruiting me because my grades weren't good enough, you know what I mean? So, and I had to go take my schooling more seriously to get, you know what I mean? So I don't know if being drafted would have meant as much if I didn't go through those things.
Amen, bro. Yes. It's funny that I couldn't agree more, man. And that narrative, though, in the moment, as you're going through the struggle, like, no, man, this is setting me up for this. It's like, that's so important. Like, that narrative, like, I'm not joking, man. I'm leaving the gym today, and I've been like putting the work in at the gym lately. I like to go to the gym anyway, but like, I've been putting the work in lately. And as I was leaving, this a comment from somebody I see at the gym all the time, and they're like, man, you're looking good. It's a nice comment, but it was like, man, I wish that I could essentially like look like that, essentially like grow like that and have those like it just like happened. And literally, bro, I'm driving home. I'm like, get the fuck out. You don't know you don't even know what it takes, dude. You don't know what it takes I don't see your ass in here every single day. You say you want to know, you don't. You could do it. Like, I don't see your ass in here every day. And I'm like, this is just this narrative playing in my head. I'm like, they're not in there every day. They don't eat the way they're supposed to eat. They don't do the, I'm willing to do those kind of, and it's like this narrative that I'm playing in my head, bro. And I literally pull in the driveway. I'm like, yeah, I'm different, right? I'm different.
Right. Sure.
That's it. But bro, everyone can say those same things and play that same narrative. And if they just had that narrative, they would be different. Yeah. Right. So I love it, bro. Okay.
Right.
Dude, I love getting to know you and chatting with you, bro, and hearing your story. And I cannot wait, dude, to celebrate with you when you guys close that first deal. So once again, man, any sponsors, any investors looking to grow within that San Antonio market, dude, you got to hit George up and his team up. for sure. There's a reason he's on this podcast, man. There's a reason, because he's making a splash in our network. That's why he's on here. So, man, as we wrap it up, any advice for, newer investors who are about to, pursue this business, or someone who's thinking of pursuing the business? Any advice you have for them with your perspective now?
Yeah. Advice for anyone that's pursuing this business. Or you said investors.
Any of the above, bro. Your call.
Investors, correct?
Your call. Any of the above.
Okay. Well, yeah, for sure. Let's go from an investor's perspective. As an investor, let's talk about why do they call cavemen? Do you know why they call cavemen cavemen?
I do, because they live in caves. I mean, that's what I go with.
Exactly. They lived in caves. Why do you think they lived in caves way back then?
So they didn't know how to build homes.
Well, you can say that, but what is a cave? What does it provide? Shelter, roof over their head, right? Protection from predators, whether it be an animal or another caveman or whatever. That's real estate, right? To me, real estate is like water. Water is not, it's and it's a,
Hey,
we're going to always need roof over our head.
All right.
We're all going to need shelter, right?
Hey, do you hear me?
I can start over.
Yeah, dude, shit, that one cut out bad. So you said, so start with real estate's like water. Then it cut on that.
Gotcha. To me, we good?
Yep.
Tyler, to me, real estate is like water, right? And here's why. Water it's old. Water's been around for a long time, right? Real estate's been around for a long time, right? Just like caves, right? From cavemen, because they were living in caves, because that's real estate. It's got shelter, provided protection from predators, a roof over their head. That's real estate. As human beings, it's in our DNA, man, to have shelter, protection, right? You don't want to be sleeping outside, right? If it's in your control. So as an investor, water, you want to be hydrated, you got to drink water. I think if you want to be financially hydrated, I think in your portfolio, in your investment, there needs to be some type of real estate in it, right? To be financially hydrated. And so as an investor, I think is especially as an investor, if you're as a passive investor, putting your money in an apartment complex, allowing your money to work for you. And not only if you're like, hey, I don't need the cash flow. Well, let's talk about the tax benefits, right? The tax benefits of putting your money into these apartments. So I hope that answers your question, but
totally, bro. Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah, man, I think it's really important. I think that, especially for me, right? My time is the most important thing in that I and for me as a basketball player, yeah, great. I make good playing basketball currently, but there's gonna come a day when I decide to walk away from the game, right? And I like the lifestyle that I live, and I want to continue to live it. But what's going to allow me to continue to live this lifestyle? Because one day this basketball money is going to stop coming in. What's going to preserve this basketball money and allow me to these real estates, these investments, right? Real estate, in my opinion, is the number one investment that you can invest in, right? Not no shade against any other thing out there that you can invest in at all, but real estate's number one. It's been around forever, and I don't think it's going anywhere personally. So as an investor, man, I think if you don't have some type of real estate in your portfolio, if you're not thinking about it, I think you're giving your future you potentially be giving your future a disservice.
Agreed, bro. I mean, I'm out here in Maui, and there's just been a huge, fire and destruction of housing, and it's, bro, obviously, man, I'm in the real estate space, have been for a while now. I'm very passionate about it. It's why we do what we do. But it's been so eye-opening, even as of late, to just see and be reminded of the importance of housing and shelter. And I've just never been more proud. We provide housing for thousands of families across the U.S., and I've just never been more proud for that. But I'll also tell you that passive income provides peace of mind. Like, I know, like, I put myself in this situation of if like all the shit at my house, like if everything burned down, and I would never wish that upon freaking anyone. And I never wish that upon anyone. And, family, safe. It's like income wise, like my income wouldn't blip. It's like that. And that's like something I'm super grateful for, man. Like passive income provides peace of mind, and peace of mind is, God, man, that allows us to operate at such a different level. You know, that allows us when in times of turmoil, in times of trial, to be able to have peace of mind, sound mind, to operate and actually help bring in solutions when there's turmoils and trials, man. So I'm very grateful for it, bro, and could not agree more with you. Like, it is, if somebody does not have real estate in their portfolio, it's crazy, dude. They're crazy. They're limiting their upside. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, history. Yeah. No doubt, man. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said, right? Like I mentioned, time is the most important thing that I own. You know, with my parents being in the military, you know, my mom, I remember being a 6-year-old and walking myself to school and getting myself up in the morning because she was working 2 jobs. And I remember my mom would have to go overseas. And so I spent a lot of time, I was forced to be independent, right? Literally, I remember getting up in the morning, brushing my teeth, putting Pop-Tarts in the clothes and walking to school as a 6-year-old on my own and walking home. And then my mom would come home at 5, run upstairs, change clothes. And she had about 30 minutes and then she would run to the mall because she was working at a jewelry store. She would say, hey, would you want to come with me? Right. And so her time was spent, you know, having to be, you know, and so I'm like, dang, she's not here for me. And I still love my mom to this day. She did a great job raising me and I wouldn't change it for the world. But whenever I have the opportunity, you know, to have some kids and start a family, I do want to be the one to take them to school. More. And so what's going to allow me to do that is these apartments, man. These apartments now, because, you know, like you said, I have peace of mind knowing I got income coming in regardless every month, like clockwork, right? Like clockwork. And now I can, you got a football game, you got a basketball game in this time. Yeah, we're here. I'm there. I'm getting the snacks for the team, and you know what I mean? So that is ultimately what I'm in this for. Is because it allows me to have my time.
Awesome, dude. I love it, man. I love it. I agree, bro. Nothing better. I'm just telling you, there's nothing better than, kids bring a whole nother level of, just time. You know, you want to be there for everything, bro. I respect that. And I love that, dude. Yeah. Your mom's a beast, man. I love that she, you know, weathered that storm and did all those things so you could be in the position to tackle what you're tackling today, man. You're awesome. Dude, I love it, man. Listen, all y'all listening to this, hit George up. We'll put all your contact information. We'll put that in all the description and everything, so there's easy links to those. And then once again, man, appreciate everything that you're doing on the MFM network and everything you're doing to pour into the people there. You're a beast, man. And thank you for taking. Oh, I lost him. I just lost him. Thank you for taking the time to be on the Multifamily Mindset podcast, man. And to everyone out there, remember, man, live always with Aloha. Peace. Multifamily Mindset podcast. Think bigger.